And welcome to episode 588.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that for now. Of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm
And
Sean.
I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says,
Humans have besmirched everything bestowed upon them. They were given paradise, they threw it away. They were given this planet, they destroyed it. They were favored best amongst all his endeavors, and some of them don't even believe he exists. And in spite of it all, he's shown them infinite fucking patience at every turn. What about us? I asked you once to lay down the sword because I felt sorry for them. And what was the result? Our expulsion from paradise. Where was his infinite fucking patience then? It's not right. It's not fair. We paid our debt. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time we went home? And to do that, I think we have to dispatch our would-be dispatchers.
nice.
Yeah. It's from your all-time favorite Kevin Smith movie, Dogma.
I love talking.
Ah. It's one of those movies. It's hard to find
Yeah.
because it's like tied up with like all sorts of different rights issues. Like I'm lucky, I have it on DVD, and I have like a special edition. It looks like a Bible and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like it's one of those movies like you never find it streaming anywhere. You never find it on like a premium channel
Right.
because of the rights that like who holds the rights to what because of all the controversy that surrounded that movie at the time it was released.
Yeah.
Like it was supposed to be a Miramax film and Miramax let it go, but they held on to certain rights. And then it was released by I think Lionsgate. Like they did the distribution, and it's like all sorts of like strange things that you just you know it for whatever reason it will never be probably ever on Blu-ray,
Right.
and you'll never see it on streaming services because of how the rights are with that movie.
Right.
Odd.
Yeah, it is on.
Yeah. But it was all because of all the controversy that surrounded it. Like, because they got all the anti-Catholic backlash,
Right.
Disney was like, yeah, we can't release this. Because at the time, Miramax was owned by Disney.
Right.
So the Weinsteins had to kind of like throw their hands up in the air, even though they had invested in it. But they still held on. Like, it's like this weird. I read an article about it one time, like, and it was like so much legalese involved with it. I was like, this is starting to hurt my head. Too much.
This one's hurt my head.
Oh, Sabine. That wouldn't nothing to do with you now. Don't touch me.
I know.
I will fuck you up,
There,
motherfucker.
dude, look at her face. Anyway,
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Working up in Erie.
How's that been? I think you've been there before.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the work, I like where I'm working.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to work. But I don't like to drive. I mean, about 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there for 3 days and come home.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad.
Yeah.
With my work schedule, though, I'm always leaving at night, so I'm always driving at night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You're like leaving the night before to get up there
yeah.
and then driving home when you're done.
Yeah, I know one person who leaves at 3:30 in the morning to get there to start her work day at 6:30 or something.
That's rough.
Oh, on an 8-hour shift, it wouldn't be too bad. But on
Yeah.
a 12-hour shift, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't do all that.
No. That's
It just
That's
what
too
it
much.
does. I mean, I get it. I mean, it saves you $70 a hotel. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But still, Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, no, I mean that's too much. That would be.
Driving 2.5 hours and then working for 12 hours.
And then 2.5 hour drive home.
No, not driving
No.
home, just staying
Yeah,
there
just staying there. Yeah,
for 2 days. But
yeah,
still,
yeah. Yeah, you're better off just getting there the night before,
yeah, if
getting
it
a
was an
good night's
hour
sleep.
away, it's no big deal.
Yeah,
But not 3.
yeah, you're just better off getting there the night before, getting a good night's sleep,
Yeah.
and being ready for the day.
So what else has been going on? What are you doing? I've been fucking sucking on fantasy. Thought I had a good draft. Didn't win one yet.
Well, I mean,
I had some injuries.
that's the thing. Like we poke fun at Thad,
Uh-huh.
but like half of his draft, which but he got an A+ in the draft,
Yeah.
and he had the #1 overall pick in the draft, and like 4 of his top 6 draft picks are injured.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that thing of like, man, he just got screwed. But it also says something about like his lack of backups.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's the problem. Like, it is a problem when you're picking like at that point in the draft because there's so many picks that go after you.
Right.
Like, if you're picking #1, you're not picking again until pick 20. You know, so 19 picks are going on after you. So it's a tough thing to do when you're in that spot. I mean, I picked 9th, and I thought picking 9th was difficult because again, like once you get it, and you get those 2 like almost back to back picks,
Yeah.
it's a long time till you see the. I've always felt like picking like 5 or 6 or 4, like somewhere in that middle spot.
Yeah. 7 sucks. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
I didn't like picking 7.
like 7 is when it kind of starts to suck a bit, but like picking in that middle spot is like.
I thought picking 7 sucked.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like, okay, everybody's gone. I picked my guy, and then now everybody's gone.
Yeah, if there's a run, like if you're like, okay, next I'm looking at getting a tight end, and all of a sudden there's a run on tight ends,
Yeah.
you suddenly have like, and tight end, like good tight ends, there's very few in the NFL. Like those top guys who are going to get you 10, 12, 13 points a game.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's like 2, maybe 3 of those guys. And if you miss out on them, like, and you miss out on those second tier guys who will get you like 6 or 7 consistently,
Yeah.
like you're stuck with a guy who like gets like 3 catches a game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
3 catches for 30 yards. There's your 4.5 points.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm just bewildered. I didn't like where I was picking.
Yeah.
I just didn't like. It seems like everybody I wanted was gone. You know what I mean? I just didn't like it. I mean, I got Mahomes. I got St. Brown. I mean, my Singletary, my Giants running back, got me 4 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like Mahomes is not having a Mahomes-like season.
Ayuk's not having a great season so far.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's been drawing double teams.
Nakua is on IR.
Puka Nacua, yeah.
Nixon's questionable,
Yeah.
and he's injured. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not great. It's just not great.
No, I agree. Like
I did take Freiermuth, and it's been opening up somewhat for him.
yeah.
I mean, at least 6 or 7 points. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's going to get a touchdown here and there. I hope. But I just really don't have many people. And there's not really anybody on the board to get.
No, you got to start looking deep. You got to start doing the research
I
on
did get Flowers, but he didn't have a good week last week.
No, Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not a good. It's just not more. I thought Ayuk would give me a little bit more than what he's been giving me.
Yeah, he's.
I mean, I went with a wide receiver draft just because there was nobody left as far as running backs. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have good choices on running backs.
Right.
when it came to me. So I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I did get um I did get Nixon, but
Yeah.
now he's questionable. It's just frustrating. I got Montgomery. Ah, and I got Mahomes, but Mahomes isn't throwing up crazy points.
No, he hasn't this year.
So I don't know. We'll see.
But that may change with Isaiah Pacheco being injured.
Right. They're gonna go throw. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
he out or
he's out. Yeah,
for the year?
for the year.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
As I picked up Samaje Perine
Mm.
because he was one of the backups, and so to see who, if he becomes the guy,
Right.
then I've got a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, Rashid Rice has been okay. He had a really good game the first game,
Right.
and then the second and third week he's been okay. AJ Brown getting injured is what hurt, but I've got Williams from Detroit who's been sucking up all the catches from Amon-Ra St. Brown
Yeah.
because St. Brown's getting double teamed.
Yeah.
Teams are saying, well, we're not going to let this guy beat him. Well, Williams is like, okay, I'll be more than happy to.
Right.
But it's what it is.
Yeah, it is. So what else is going on?
I watched a few things this week. Some interesting things.
Okay.
I watched a docuseries called Mr. McMahon.
Okay.
It was about Vince McMahon.
Okay.
And it's a 6-part docuseries. It covers essentially his life.
Okay.
Like the first episode, a lot of it is about him growing up, going with his father, buying the WWF at the time.
Uh-huh.
Everything kind of leading up to WrestleMania 1. And it goes on and on and on. They tell you at the beginning, the majority of these interviews took place before the 2022 when the allegations started coming out about him with the hush money for the affairs.
Okay.
And that's even well before it all came out about, the possible abuse and sexual trafficking that was taking place.
Right.
So there's a lot of people who participated in these interviews before all of that came out, including Vince. There's a lot of Vince. And some of it was very disturbing to hear him talk about.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, they were talking about like this alleged rape, like in like 1990, that he was accused of.
Right.
Around the same time that the steroid allegations were coming out. He's also involved in this scandal. And it kind of got dismissed.
Yeah.
And in the interview, they're asking him, well, like, did you, what happened here? Like, he's like, it was a completely consensual relationship. And even if I did rape her, the statute of limitations, like that. You're just like,
wow,
holy shit. And then at the end of that episode, they show like when there was a waiver on the statute of limitations, Vince settled with her out of court.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They start talking about like the Chris Benoit stuff. And a lot of that, like the media focused on the wrong thing after it came out that Chris Benoit murdered his wife and his son and then hung himself.
Yeah.
They were focusing on steroids.
Yeah.
And the reality was it was probably CTE.
Yeah.
And Chris Nowinski, Dr. Chris Nowinski, who at one time was a professional wrestler for the WWE.
Yeah.
He was a Harvard graduate. He was an athlete. I think he played quarterback for Harvard. He was on Tough Enough, which was like their like reality show competition to get a contract with the WWE.
Yeah.
And even though I don't think he won it, I think that he was good enough that they thought, well, let's give him a try anyway.
Mm.
He lasted a year, suffered a concussion, and quit. And because they wouldn't believe him. And so he went and he became a neurologist and has been studying. He's one of the leading researchers on brain injury and CTE. And he was like, I've looked at the slides, the brain slides of Chris Benoit. He had CTE in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing that his brain even functioned.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And so McMahon was kind of like trying to blow that off a little bit, but yet at the same time, he and Nowitzki even says, like, they came to me and because I was attacking them, and as a former professional wrestler, they ended up listening to me, and we ended up forming a coalition where I teach wrestlers about the effects of brain damage and CTE. They took the headshot with a chair out of the game.
Yeah.
Like, that was, for years, that was just part of professional wrestling, was a guy gets hit with a steel chair.
Yeah.
You know, in the head. Hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they took that. That's no longer allowed.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch WWE, they'll still use steel chairs, but it's usually on the back.
Yeah.
Like, they hit you with the flat of the chair on the flat of the back.
Yeah.
Never to the head anymore.
Yeah.
At least in WWE. AEW, that's still the Wild fucking West.
Yeah.
But then they have Stone Cold on there, and Stone Cold's like, I got dropped on my head one time where I got a concussion. Well, no, Steve, not only did you have a concussion, but you also damaged your spine because somebody fucked up a pile driver.
Yeah.
Owen Hart fucked up a pile driver and dropped you on your head.
Yeah.
He's like, my belief is if you're suffering from concussions, you're doing it wrong. And I'm not a CTE guy. I'm like, the fuck? Like, I like you, Steve. You're a cool guy for the most part, but that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, more and more this is coming out that this is a problem, not only in professional wrestling, but in other sports.
Right.
Like, football's taking it relatively seriously. Like, you know, Tua Tagovailoa got dropped on his head again, and they put him on 4-week IR.
Yeah.
Because he has a history of concussions.
Right.
You know, like, this is a real thing. And to have, like, Steve Austin, a respected pro wrestler that people still revere, hold in high regard, to be like, yeah, I don't believe in CTE. Like, that is a bad look.
Yeah.
And then, like, Vince is talking about, like, WrestleMania 30, maybe it was WrestleMania 30, when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar to break the streak. Vince, they both tell the story, like, Vince came to Undertaker that day. Because originally it was supposed to be Undertaker was supposed to win that match.
Okay.
Vince came to him that day, the day of WrestleMania, and said, I think Brock should go over instead.
Okay.
Now, in that match, which is a brutal match, it's hard hitting because Taker's a hard hitting guy and Brock Lesnar's fucking Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Taker gets dropped on his head and it's like, I don't remember the match. There's nothing about this match I remember. If I watch it, I'm watching it from a third-person view because I have no memory of this match.
Wow.
I was concussed. There's not a doubt. How I got through the match, I don't know. Looking at it, it looks like I was on autopilot.
Really?
Yeah. Which is amazing to think about.
Yeah.
You know, After the match, Taker makes his way back behind the curtain and collapses. He is rushed to the hospital. Vince McMahon leaves WrestleMania to be in the ambulance with Mark Calloway, The Undertaker,
Really?
to get him to the hospital. But in this interview, when he's asked about it, he's like, I don't think he was concussed. I think he was in shock because I told him, get the fuck out of here. He might have been upset, but the man's a professional. Like, he knows what the deal is.
Yeah, he's not that dramatic.
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, some of the things that are said throughout this documentary just stick out as like, wow.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, one of the fifth episode is in a bit of the sixth episode, the final episode. They talk about, like, Shane McMahon becomes like a prominent person that they interview from this point forward. And like him talking about, like, I did all the shit I did for my father's approval.
Okay.
Like, there's a match against Kurt Angle.
Okay.
It's a no holds barred match. And at one point, they made their way up the ramp, and this was back in the day of, like, pay-per-views had their own special sets and stuff.
Yeah.
Now only WrestleMania really gets one.
Yeah.
But back then, like, every pay-per-view had a special set, and this one had it set up where there were, like, these windows. And Kurt Angle grabs Shane McMahon and tries to give him a belly-to-belly throw suplex. So he goes through a window. Shane hits the window, it doesn't break, and he drops straight down onto his neck.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, Shane gets up and he says, and you can kind of see it in the video. He's like, he calls Kurt a fucking pussy for not being able to put him through a window.
Really?
Yeah. So Kurt grabs him again, and they do it again, and this time he goes through.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from the inside, they're supposed to throw him back out. They do it 2 more times. The window doesn't break. So Kurt finally just grabs him by the back of the neck and throws him headfirst through the window.
No shit.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But he's like, after that, my dad gave me a pat on the back and told me I did a good job, and that's the only thing I wanted. Like, it's that dynamic of fathers and sons, and it was just like it was like the whole thing. Like, at the end of it, it's like you watch it, it's like, it's almost traumatic to, like, watch, but then you hear the shit like Bruce Pritchard has been off and on with the WWE for 30 plus years. And they asked him, like, well, have you seen the episodes that we sent you? He's like, yeah, and I felt like it was a gotcha. Everything was just cut to make Vince look bad.
Yeah.
He's like, I will tell you now, Vince McMahon, when my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and she was given 4 years to live 20 years ago, Vince McMahon made sure my wife saw the best doctors this country could offer.
Yeah.
To make sure she survived, and she did.
Uh-huh.
And it's because of Vince McMahon, and that's the man I know. So, like, there's this, like, interesting dichotomy of what a absolute horrible human being Vince McMahon is.
Uh-huh.
But if you are part of his inner circle, which even that isn't, like, really that tight, but if he's somebody he cares enough about, like, it's clear he will do whatever it takes to help you.
Yeah.
Like it was like this monster of a human being, but at the same time, like, doing whatever he can to help Bruce Pritchard's wife.
Right.
Was an interesting,
Yeah, I think there's a good side to him in that inner circle.
Yeah.
But
at the same, like,
I think Mark Calloway's probably in that inner circle. To a certain extent.
Well, yeah, there are, like, you talk to some of those guys, like Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, John Cena, Austin. They will all tell you, like, I had, like, a father-son relationship with them.
Yeah.
Like, and a few of them, like, I'll take a bullet for that guy. And I get it because like he's the guy who made you.
Right.
And once you reach a certain level, he takes care of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you're the top guy, you are going to be financially set
Right.
or close to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you look at it like Taker, like from the time he debuted in I think 1990 all the way up to his retirement, never left WWE.
Right.
Like, and now we're talking about a time when like WCW was starting around guaranteed contracts and working less dates, and he still stayed with the WWE.
Yeah.
Like that was where his loyalty lied because Vince was the guy who made him.
Right.
You know, so Austin and The Rock and Cena, like those guys have a level of loyalty to Vince because Vince made them into household names.
Right.
Yeah. And even Hogan to a certain extent was kind of like, it bums me out I left. It bums me out that I worked against him. But at the end of the day, when I was in the 80s, he took care of me.
Yeah.
That was like, it was an interesting watch that, and it's a Netflix documentary. And I will tell you, even if you're not really into wrestling, you might enjoy this. Well, I shouldn't say enjoy it. You'll find it interesting because I feel like so much of this is what business is.
Right.
Like this is like there are horrible people running it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, ugh. But why do you like it if you know it's being run by somebody god awful?
Right.
Like, I'll never forget the night Vince resigned as the CEO of WWE. And like Stephanie came out that night on SmackDown and she got the crowd chanting, and they weren't happy to thank you, Vince.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming out that this man is paying hush money to women to stay quiet about affairs that they had with him.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
Right.
$13 million. And this crowd is still chanting, thank you, Vince. You know what I mean? Like, it's a strange, like, and you think about it, like, and it comes out, and this comes out at a time where, like, we're talking about, like, Sean Puffy Combs.
Right.
And the 1,000 bottles of baby oil and the 750 sex toys and, everything else and the freak outs. And it's like, man, we kind of knew he was a monster.
Yeah.
We kind of knew he was, but we still listen to his music.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot of that anymore. And like, what entertains us? Well, man, I know that person's an awful human being, but fuck, they can act.
Right.
Yeah. Or the fuck they can sing.
Yeah.
But fuck they can throw a football. That's
Yeah.
I'll wholeheartedly admit that. Ben Roethlisberger, probably a horrible human being. Thank God he played quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, though.
Yeah.
1, 2 Super Bowls got us to 3. Never want to meet him.
Nah. I don't know if he's a terrible human being. I'm not defending him, but I don't know if he's
right.
all that. When he was young, he was just young.
He was a young asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he may be different now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, but obviously back then, between the sexual misconduct allegations, which, again, pale in comparison to Deshaun Watson.
I don't even know what Deshaun Watson did. I don't even know. I can't believe I don't know, but I don't.
Oh, it was like traveling around the country and trying to get happy endings. That's essentially it. like
Really?
like 30 different masseuses or have like Kate or like he settled many I guess more allegations are not coming out like they came out last week. But like, just yeah, I need a massage and that massage comes with a happy ending, right? You know.
So he's getting in trouble for the proposition.
Well, I mean, it's not even the proposition. It's I don't, I mean, I guess they're saying it was like,
Forced.
yeah, I think so. Like sexual predator like antics. Yeah. But he's got a guaranteed $250 million contract. You know.
Crazy, right?
And on top of that, he's not playing very well. Maybe he needs a massage. You know.
Bryce Graff didn't try to get him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an awful human being.
Yeah. I love a good massage. Anyway,
Go to one of Kraft's massage parlors.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it's all alleged.
It's allegedly, even though there was film footage of the act taking place.
I know.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. Anyway,
how does he still have a job? I mean, like, ow. The thing that reminds me, it's almost like every time I think about the Kraft incident,
yeah,
or I'm sure many incidents,
yeah,
I always think of the fucking mayor in Best Little House in Texas.
Oh yeah,
every time.
Yeah, every time. Yeah,
every time I could just see him doing that, going in there. You know what I mean? Song and dance.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, that's what was going on.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I think when you get that much money, dude, I think reality becomes warped. I do. I think they live in a warped reality. Truly.
No, I 100% agree. I feel like you reach a point. And the funny thing is like people are putting pieces of the puzzle together. And again, this is all conspiracy theory and allegation.
Right.
That one of the ringleaders of this all is Oprah. Like, you have pictures of Oprah with Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, like anybody who has ever been accused of like god awful sexual crimes at a level of like you can't believe this is happening. There's Oprah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Yeah. Self-made billionaire Oprah.
Corey Feldman's right.
But that's what's scary.
Yeah.
Is like the people we blew off as kooks may have been right all along.
Yeah. I know.
You know what I mean? Like
there's those wild stories of people just going off the edge.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Britney Spears just went off the edge?
Yeah.
Right. Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
Completely nut crazy because of things that were going on.
Right.
The Nickelodeon dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like, what I'm saying is like Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Right.
I'm not comparing the two of them in the same instance, but just that whole Michael Jackson incident.
Yeah.
And separate Corey Feldman.
Right.
Outside of Michael Jackson, there was stuff
Right.
going on with Corey Feldman.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just some people just went, you know, and I think it's been going on for years. And I do think there's some Charlie Sheen. There's some
Yeah.
kind of underground shit that's going on in Hollywood industry that's like, what the fuck? There's just so much money that their version of reality is just
Yeah.
warped. Weinstein's.
Yeah.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like I remember, like years ago, I think it was an interview. I can't remember, but it was Kevin Smith, and he was talking about like, you reach a certain point, and you've been in Hollywood long enough, you start to hear shit,
Yeah.
and you start to hear about the freaks, like, the guy who wants you to, sit on a toilet in his living room and shit on him,
Yeah.
and stuff like, it's like you hear this stuff, and you're like, this can't be fucking real, and you're just like. I mean, I was like, I want to say I heard Kevin Smith talk about that in like the late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like it was like that thing of just like, do you just reach a point of like, this is what I'm just at this point where this is what I need. Like, I am so calloused to everything else that I just need you to drop a deuce on me.
The fuck?
Yeah, like, I bought a potty chair. I'm gonna lay down some plastic, and you're just gonna right on my chest. Or even worse, you're gonna lay down,
Oh,
and I'm gonna
give you the Cleveland State.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're gonna like it.
exactly.
I'm gonna give you the sponge like Christian Bale.
Oh yeah, like it is like, and you wonder, like, you're right, like what level of wealth do you have to reach where you think I'm above it all?
Yeah. Like you're untouchable.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It is. It's insanity, and
Look at what's his name. Oh my, was it Ludacris? Not Ludacris. He's the guy who was pissing on everybody.
R. Kelly.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, man.
I mean, and Chappelle was making that joke how long ago?
I know. I know.
Like there are guys like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle are like two guys that like maybe we should be listening to a little bit more closely. Because they're kind of telling you what's going on without telling you what's going on.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know inside stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I can just see Chappelle just shaking his head like, what the fuck?
I told these motherfuckers.
I know. I'd like to see an interview between Chappelle and Kevin Smith. I'd like to see how that went.
That would be interesting.
Just them kind of going off each other.
Yeah.
See what happened. Two different people, but very funny in their own
right
aspects. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because I still think Chappelle's one of the funniest men on earth.
Oh, so do I.
He's probably one of the best comedians to ever put on this planet.
Yeah. Like he is on the Mount Rushmore of.
Yeah.
Like it's him, Pryor, Williams,
Murphy.
Yeah.
Murphy was funny on a stand-up.
Yeah, and Eddie. Yeah, probably those four. That's your Mount Rushmore probably of.
Yeah.
stand-up comedy.
He's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so good.
Yeah.
The cool thing about it is like all the comedians, maybe it was the time period that they were doing stand-up, like Pryor and
Right.
Murphy, and so they funny to listen to, right?
Right.
And you can take deeper meaning from what they're saying.
Right.
But Chappelle makes you think, like when he's doing his comedy.
Right.
Like you're like after one of his jokes, you're like, huh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't get that with Pryor or Murphy. But when Chappelle's done doing his joke, you're like, I see where he's coming from. I see his angle.
I think the problem is, I'm not going to call it a problem. Dave has to bury it a little bit. Like, those guys didn't have to. Like, if you think about it, if you go back and you really listen to, like, Richard Pryor, like, Live on Sunset Strip and stuff like that, he was just being raw.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, this is how shit was. He was making you think without you realizing you're thinking because he could.
Yeah.
Like, he could be just that raw about what he was trying to tell you. Where I think Chappelle, I mean, Eddie too, like to a certain, I mean, like you look at like Eddie's early stuff, and you're just like, yeah, it was kind of there, but it was still like with Chappelle, it's like because of like the PC crowd and everything, like, and I mean, not that he like. I mean, he kind of, flips his finger off to those people anyway.
Right.
But still, it's like, I think you're right. It's a part of the times that like his humor is meant to make you think.
Right.
Like, I think Pryor did too.
Yeah.
But like I think Eddie is like not Eddie. Dave, the Chappelle. It is. It's kind of like. Because we're more PC.
Yeah. So
he's making you think about how PC we are. Where Pryor was talking about racial relations.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about drug addiction and all the stuff that he was going through.
Right.
Where Dave is kind of telling you what he's going through, but is being in a PC environment.
Yeah.
That I don't want to say Pryor wouldn't survive, and I'm sure he would. But it's just different. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Dave always has a story to tell.
He does.
And I'm right there listening.
Yeah.
100% full ears.
Yeah.
I want him to tell me the story. That's why I love watching interviews with Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Anything that Chappelle does, I'll watch. And I know it's probably not right to a certain extent, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know. He has a story to tell, and I want to hear that story.
Right.
Every single time. And when he tells the story, I'm going to laugh my fucking ass off. Because he's just so good at it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the story, and even at the end of the show, he makes you think about something.
Yeah.
And they don't crack a joke or what. But I mean, like, he makes you think. And I think that's what good storytellers do, right?
Right.
They make you think.
Exactly.
About political environment, stuff like that. He just makes you think. And he's just really good at what he does.
Yeah.
His delivery is perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is perfect.
Right.
I still watch Half Baked here and there.
Oh, Half Baked is hysterical.
It's just so good.
But like I go back, like I watch those old Chappelle Show skits.
Oh yeah.
And they're just as poignant today as they were then.
Yeah.
Many of them, like there's a lot of shit he did where you're just like, oh fuck, he was onto something, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was throwing shit out there that was absolutely crazy, and some of that shit went too far for even him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't. You know what I mean? Like
right.
I've read it, I've seen interviews with him where he was like, I've done some skits that I shouldn't have did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's like, they're funny at the time, but it's not what I meant to come across. You know what I mean?
Well, I
But
mean,
when he did that shit on the Black Ku Klux Klan member,
oh
I just couldn't believe he was doing it.
no,
That was like, I, I wouldn't say breaking, but
no, that was,
you're kind of like, holy shit, is he really doing this?
and that was like skip one, episode one,
Yeah.
right out the gate,
Crazy.
and you were just like, oh shit, we're in for a ride.
That's
And,
crazy.
I mean, and you followed up with like shit like the racial draft,
Yeah.
and then like the one of the all-time favorites is the World Series of Dice.
Yeah.
Ashy Larry.
Remember the one where they put all the makeup on and he dressed up like a white guy and went,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He just did some wild ass shit, man. Some wild ass shit. Oh man, he's funny. But his stand up's fantastic.
Yeah.
His stand up's so good.
Yeah, there aren't many modern day comics like I'll go out of my way to watch. Like him, Bill Burr,
Yeah.
Christopher Titus. Like that. That's probably it.
Yeah. He's just funny dude, man.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from the horribleness of the world,
Yeah.
I did watch a movie debuted this week on Apple
Okay.
called Wolves,
Okay.
and it's got George Clooney and Brad Pitt, and essentially the plot line is they're cleaners,
Okay.
but they don't work together. They're separate from each other,
Uh-huh.
and Clooney gets called to this incident by this U.S. Attorney General, or no, not attorney, and somebody of prominent importance in New York,
Okay.
and Brad Pitt gets called separately by the person who owns the hotel.
Okay.
Now they've got to work together. And it was an amusing film. I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't great.
Okay.
But it was like one, and the story made sense from a certain standpoint. Like you follow along, it's like, okay, I got it. It makes sense. I think the only reason I like this movie is because it's Clooney and Pitt. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like watching those two guys on screen together is always fun,
Right.
no matter what it is. Like, they're just that good together. So I think, like, if I look at it like from the story standpoint, it's probably not as strong as I hoped it was, and everything else kind of around it is just okay. But man, Clooney and Pitt together,
Yeah.
they amuse me. And I think that's what I enjoyed about it, was like watching those two guys work together again.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's what you like, I would highly recommend Wolves.
Okay.
But if you don't dig that, then the movie will probably miss for you then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Wolves.
Wolves. Trying to think what else. I watched the first 3 episodes of Agatha All Along.
Okay.
That hasn't been that good.
No?
No. No, I mean, I think the only thing I'm enjoying about it is I like Catherine Hahn that much that I'm willing to like give it a chance.
Okay.
But otherwise, it just had like the only thing has been like, oh, they went there. They made a Mephisto reference. Like the name Mephisto is actually brought up in episode 3.
Really?
Yeah. Outside of that, like the first episode was interesting because it kind of still played with like the premise from WandaVision.
Okay.
Because it was like she was in a TV show where is like a true crime detective.
Okay.
And then she kind of starts to put her memory back together
Okay.
and figure out, but she's still powerless.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. Episode 2, I really didn't dig, and episode 3 wasn't that good either. I just, other than the Mephisto reference where I went, I was like the meme, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I'm like pointing at the TV going, Mephisto! They said Mephisto!
Yeah.
You know, other than that, it hasn't, like, but Catherine Hahn's been great. And I'll watch Catherine Hahn in damn near anything.
Right.
You know, I think she's phenomenal.
Right. So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time saying, hey, somebody should be, if you haven't watched it, give it a try. You might like it. Thad in his email says he thinks it's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
It just hasn't been good enough to me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm going to continue watching it only because of Catherine Hahn. Like, that's the reason I'm watching is because of her. And first 2 episodes of Tulsa King have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Has it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this, and now that it's here, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm, because it's still kind of setting things up in a way. The first, like, at the end of episode 2,
Uh-huh.
but that you kind of see where the story's going, and you got Frank Grillo, who he's one of those that guy actors I really like.
Uh-huh.
Like, he shows up and you're like, oh shit, that's Frank Grillo. Okay, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to seeing like where it all goes.
Yeah.
But the first 2 episodes have been very good. I get on board.
Yeah.
And I watched the first episode of The Penguin.
Uh-huh.
And I'm interested to see where that goes.
Okay.
So I think it's what's going to be interesting is, and we talk about this like with the Sony Spider-Verse without there being a Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're assembling all of these villains, making them anti-heroes, but like without Spider-Man, do they really serve a purpose?
Right.
Well, in this show, Batman exists at least, but he never shows up.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you. Like, Batman will not be in this series. So, but he exists still. Like, it's not like I say, well, he doesn't exist. Like, they acknowledge he exists.
Yeah.
But it's a mob show.
Yeah.
It's a mob show in the Batman universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I'm not really a mob show type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But because at the end of the day, like, even the Penguin, like, there are no good guys in this show. You know what I mean? Like, the Penguin is a villain.
Right.
He's just your main character. There are no heroes.
Right.
Like, it's just maybe he's the lesser of 2 evils, maybe.
Right.
And so I don't know. Like, I at the end of it, I'm sure I'm going to be like, yeah, it was good and I liked it, but I only like it because it was in the Batman universe and it was Batman characters. But if it was like not a Batman show, just a mob show, I'd probably be like, yeah, I really don't care for it that much. You know what I mean? Like, that Batman twist is enough to keep me into it.
Right.
Which is a sad thing to say, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been watching.
Nice.
Yeah. I know you've been busy, so you probably haven't watched anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I was going to watch the football game on Thursday, but I couldn't because it's Prime.
Yeah. And so
There was nothing on. Just watched hurricane footage.
yeah.
That's about it. I mean, like, there was nothing on.
Yeah.
I started watching Batman the third installment of Nolan, and I just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through the voice. Once he came back, I was like, "Where is she? Where's the bomb?"
Yeah.
I'm like, it just became too much. Way too much. So yeah, so I turned that off, and yeah, I haven't really watched hardly anything. I've just been busy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Other than that, I know I've become a non-TV watcher.
Well, you've been very busy. I mean, the summer of Ian is becoming the fall of Ian, the autumn of Ian, I guess.
Yeah,
So you've been very busy doing a lot of different things.
yeah. Summer's over, right?
Yeah, including working.
Yeah.
You haven't been able to do much outdoorsy stuff because this weather's been horrible.
Yeah.
This entire week has just been so fucking dreary.
Yeah. I know.
I'm like, I don't care about the rain, but it's like, and even like, I think part of it is, it's like, it looks so blah out there,
Yeah.
And I'm not ready for that yet. Like, come winter time, I'm ready for it.
Right.
I'm ready for that blah. Because that's what Pittsburgh is in the wintertime.
Right.
It's too early for a week and a half of just bleh. And what makes it worse is like, it's not that warm outside, but it is humid as fuck. Because it's like,
It is humid.
yeah, it's like sticky. And like I'm running the air conditioner right now just to make it comfortable here. But like up in my bedroom, I've got the window fan in, and that's enough to keep it cool in my room. But it's still like that sticky factor is like, and I'm resisting the temptation to turn on the AC in there.
Right.
I'm like, I'm fine with but it's so sticky. I'm like, even like my mouse on my mouse pad, you're like, it's like, how like it's packed out like your mouse pad, and I'm like trying to move, and I'm like, why the fuck won't you move? And it's because it's all sticky and
gross.
Yeah, like it has a tactileness to it because of the moisture in the air.
Yeah.
So
It's disgusting.
yeah, and I'm just waiting because it's like, well, once this passes, my grass is gonna grow like crazy.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to mow the lawn again one more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one thing I don't want to do.
In the stickiness.
Well, no, like I'm hopefully by that point, like we get to a point where it's like 75 degrees and there's no humidity.
Right.
It's just the act of like, I can look out, like there's a patch up by where my garbage cans are, like clover. Now I just mowed the lawn a week and a half ago, and that clover is already regrown and is like thick.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking at it going like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I just mowed you. But like, it'll be like a situation where like you'll just have it'll be like nice outside. It won't be, but the grass will be high because of all the rain we're getting now.
Right.
Like, I haven't had a problem. Like this summer was kind of dry, and so because of that, I didn't have to mow the lawn as much because it didn't grow.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna have to get one more cut in after all this rain.
Sure.
Because it's just gonna sprout.
Yeah, good thing we didn't get anything from that hurricane.
Yeah, I think we're gonna miss it. I think it's gonna go wester.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of rain.
I saw Tennessee. Like, I guess a dam broke in Tennessee, and like out of nowhere, people were like all of a sudden like in 10 feet of water.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy amount of rain. I haven't heard anything on Florida though. I mean, like I haven't really looked at it either. But
I've paid enough attention to it to I know like. I mean, Florida always handles that shit.
Yeah.
Like power outages is a big problem down there.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Like where it's affecting is like really as it's come inland and kept power, like you said, um like those middle southern states like Arkansas and like
Yeah.
places like that where it's like Alabama where like it had intense flooding
Yeah.
because of whatever,
The outer bands.
yeah. And then as it's pushed north, like I said, like Tennessee, like I said, I know there was at least one dam that broke because of all the water they got, all the
Yeah.
rain, you know.
It's crazy.
And that's all Tennessee is a bunch of dams.
Yeah, and who knows what they did in Tennessee? Like who? I know that they're not supposed to get that much water, but
Right.
same point. I mean, look at New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like they have like those river walls and stuff, those seawall, and I mean that was like the Tennessee Valley Authority back in God, what was that? Um, Roosevelt.
Mm.
That was part of like his pre-war plan to get out of the Great Depression, creating jobs.
Yeah.
Tennessee Valley Authority to dam up the rivers there and stuff.
Yeah, it's like in New Orleans, though, they when that broke down,
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if I talked about this before about the Army Corps of Engineers and stuff.
I think we've touched on it, but I don't think you've gone deep into it.
Yeah, well, the Army Corps of Engineers, when that all went down, they blamed the Army Corps of Engineers,
Yeah.
and the guy from the government was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
we've been telling you about this shit for years,
Right.
you know." And so I guess now I might be wrong, and I will absolutely take heed for it
Yeah.
if I am. But I think it went down like the state has to hire the Army Corps of Engineers.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
don't just go in and fix things like they did down here on 48.
Yeah.
They were hired to come in and fix the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, and these numbers are not right. I'm just stating
Right.
that out there. So Army Corps of Engineers goes, okay, we need, I'm just going to make up a number, 500 million to completely fix your
Yeah.
debacle of,
Yeah. What these seawalls are deteriorating.
yeah,
into.
and like can't support the water and
Right.
the levees, all that kind of stuff, the
Yeah.
levees and stuff like that. And so New Orleans goes, or the state of Louisiana goes, okay,
Yeah.
New Orleans applies for the stuff. They get their 500 million. Louisiana takes their cut.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Everybody.
New Orleans takes their cut.
Yeah.
They go to the Army engineers and it's like, well, here's your 80 million.
Yeah.
And the Army Corps of Engineers is like, we can't fix it for 80 million. We
Yeah.
need 500 million with the labor and the parts and everything like that.
Right.
And he said, okay, well, just do what you can with your 80 million. And
Yeah.
so they were patching it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But the first words out of their mouth when they were doing the interviews, they were starting to blow up the Army Corps of Engineers. And it's like, and the guy came on like the
Yeah.
general and said, we're not playing the blame game here. We can settle this. We can talk about this after. We're just worried about saving lives right now. We're not talking about the
Yeah.
levees. And then later on, it came out.
Yeah.
New Orleans was taking their cut, and the state of Louisiana was taking their cut from the federal government.
Right.
So where was that money funneled to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
They built a park
Yeah.
when it should have went into the levees.
Yeah.
So, but New Orleans is crooked anyway. So I mean, like,
Right.
I love New Orleans, but it's crooked.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the cops were telling people, if there's someone looting your house, just shoot them and throw them in the alley.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Just throw them in the alley.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is. Yeah.
Mass chaos.
Right.
So, I mean, but that's just an example of Louisiana.
Yeah.
What are the other states doing? I mean, like, with their problems, with their infrastructure problems.
Right.
They're getting all this money, and not even a quarter of it is going to what it's supposed to be going to. It's being funneled somewhere else within there. Man,
Right. That's every state.
Yeah, I know, but when you have a major catastrophe happen like Katrina,
Right. Yeah, that's
and
what
all the deaths,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
And nobody's head rolled.
Nobody's head rolls.
Right.
No. Business as usual.
Yeah.
It's not right.
No, I agree.
So if I was a family that lived in New Orleans and I had a death, say grandpa died
Yeah.
or grandma died because of failure of the levee system, which you had money to fix, but you did not fix,
Right.
I'd be suing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't
Yeah.
go anywhere, but I'd still sue the shit out of you because of your fraud.
Right.
Yeah. So that's as political as I'm going to get. But that's what happened. I'm not saying 500 million. I'm just saying
Right.
there was an amount of money that was distributed between the state of Louisiana and New Orleans
Right.
before it even made it back to the Army Corps of Engineers.
Right.
So they did patchwork.
Yeah.
That's all they can do. They did what they could with the money that they had.
Right.
So they did pretty good down here on 48, though.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't flood anymore, does it? Or does it?
What, the intersection of 48 and Lincoln Way?
No, a little bit further down.
Okay, yeah, I know
where
what
it used to flood.
Yeah.
By Riddle Road or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it does or not.
They redid that whole wall all the way down past C&D recovery.
Yeah.
They redid that whole thing all through there.
I think the only problem you end up having is I don't think the storm drains can handle it at times. So you still get some flooding from that.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
because that road used to flood out.
Yeah. That road and then the intersection of Eden Park Boulevard and Walnut used to flood out.
Oh my God.
That I think in order for those businesses to go in, like for Rite Aid and Dollar General and Aldi, they had to fix that.
Yeah.
I think like the businesses were like, hey, we're not going to go in here if this floods out.
Yeah.
You know. So I think McKees, there was like a lot of work that was done there to fix it.
Well, you remember all this shit, and it still happens too. When we get major flood amounts, 51 just lifts off the ground.
Oh yeah.
Century 3.
Yeah.
Like pieces of 51 are floating down the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Shitty design drainage systems.
Yeah.
Shitty road.
Yeah.
Road material.
Oh yeah.
Horrible. That's the thing. I was coming in. There's so much construction everywhere in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
And now it's going into outlying towns.
Right.
On top of Pittsburgh itself.
Right.
And so they're going to do all this construction. This is what pisses me off. You're going to do all this construction for 3 years. I mean, the Glenwood's been down for how long?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, they're doing all this construction for 3 or 4 years. It's going to be good for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to start everything back over again because of the construction material they use. The concrete and the paving material that they use is shit.
Well, that's Route 28. Route 28 has been under construction for as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's like, you could never convince me to move out that way because I would never want to deal with Route 28.
Someone's making money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our tax dollars are going into that. Right.
Like when you kept saying 48, like I thought you were talking about there's that it's like a 9-foot long bridge over the creek. It's down by Plaza Azteca.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
Yeah, that they are completely replacing that bridge. It's a 3-week project.
Okay.
So you've shut down Route 48 at that point, that intersection. Wow. So, like, people were like pissed at first, still pissed. It's like, but it's like one more week. But it's like this odd thing of like, it's like you like the one news channel, I can't remember which one, I think it was KDK. Like they're showing the bridge, it was in bad way, like it needed to be replaced.
Yeah.
But it's this 9-foot long space that's going to take 3 weeks to fix.
Yeah.
You know, and in order to do it, you have to completely shut down the road.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But it was just that odd thing. Like it's just like there's this little creek, Rainbow Creek goes underneath it, but like 9 foot long. Like the reporter was like, it's 6 normal steps. I'm like, yeah, it's about 9 feet, 10 feet,
Yeah.
but just need to be completely replaced.
Yeah.
There was no, we could patch that up.
Yeah. That's what they've done to the bridges for years.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think those bridges are gonna start falling apart eventually? The bridges in Pittsburgh? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I've been underneath some of those bridges.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
Like the 10th Street Bridge.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
The old one.
Yeah.
That goes from, that's 10th Street, right? It goes from McKeesport to Portview. 16th Street Bridge.
15th Street. The old
50.
one.
The old one.
Yeah. Oh,
remember walking across the old one and being able to see the water through the bottom hole?
Yeah. And that state, they had to keep that open until they finished refurbishing the Boston Bridge.
Yeah. And
the second the Boston Bridge opened, they shut that down.
It should have been shut down 25 years ago.
Yeah, like years before that.
But there was a point on that bridge where I wouldn't even go across that bridge. I would rather go through McKeesport.
Yeah.
Because it was sketchy.
Yeah.
Nice now.
Yeah, I mean, they got a brand new bridge there.
But right. Sketch back then.
Yeah.
I remember walking on that bridge and looking through the holes.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick. It's like driving a car with no fucking seeing the pavement under your feet.
Yeah, Flintstone in it.
Yeah. I mean, that bridge was gonna fall down.
Yeah. I was there when they blew it up.
Were you?
Yeah. I was like, it was like the fire department had to be there. And I was part of the fire department, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll wake up early and go watch them blow up a bridge.
Detonate.
Well, anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, I'm good.
Well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send us an email like Thad. Actually, I do have something I have to read from Thad's email.
Okay.
All right. Before we, so he makes fun of me for going to my high school. I told you I went to the SA football game last week.
Yeah, how was it?
It was cool. It was nice to see this new stadium. I talked about it last week, so I'm not going to delve all into it again. But it was a pleasant experience. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Wish I would have won, but
yeah.
Otherwise, I was it was a nice time. I enjoyed it. Okay. Thad did go to our local Renissance Festival. He says, I arrived early to hear the cannon fire. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. I guess they fire a cannon at the beginning of the day. I got to see Craig. They are an Irish medieval heavy metal music with bagpipes. Well, if it's bagpipes, then they're probably Scottish. I got to eat delicious fair food. I had a nice meaty brat. I also had some nice fish and chips. And some salted nuts. And a twisted pretzel.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a witch's brew. And I washed it all down with a nice cold Sam Adams beer. It was Wine Fest, so I came home with 3 bottles of wine. This is his second time going. He also went for the Bourbon and Mead Fest and came home with 2 bottles of bourbon. So, I have not been to the Renissance Festival since 2001.
Okay.
I went that one time, said, I don't think I ever have to do this again. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. But one, I think it's pricey. Like the food's overpriced in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just not enough there that like I'm overly interested in.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm.
A lot of crafty shit.
Yeah, there is.
Metal shop's cool.
Yeah. Like like watching a guy like do the like folding steel to build a sword. That was interesting. Um, watching the jousting was interesting. Um, but like I for the most part, like I'm not buying like medieval clothing.
Yeah.
There's not much there that like I'm interested in buying. And like yeah, having a giant turkey leg is nice.
But for $12,
Yeah, and
half of it you can't even eat.
yeah, and having a pop.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. It was not. It wasn't something like I guess like okay, I've experienced it. It was nice. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt about it.
Yeah, I got you.
If Thad seems to enjoy it, that's great, good for him. But it's not my bag for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was still thin back then.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it wasn't something where I'm like, oh, I mean now like all the walking around would be like, yeah, I ain't doing this. I'm not walking down there and I whatever,
Yeah.
that ain't happening. I'm just gonna find myself a bench seat under a tree and that's it.
Right.
But I mean, there are people who go like I have friends who they go every year and they go a couple times a year and it's not my thing. But for those who do enjoy it, God bless you.
God bless you.
But anyway, so if you want to reach out and touch us like Thad does, you can send us an email at pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find. And we are on a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangibound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search and find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week, even when we go off the rails and get maybe a little too political.
Right.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.